The next generation Xbox and PS6 hardware specifications have just leaked. Microsoft and Sony plan to build two wildly different consoles that offer a major difference in graphics performance and access to games. PlayStation's next generation approach will surprise you, and what Xbox has in store for millions of fans will change the industry forever. Trusted leaker Kepler L2 and Moore's Law is Dead, a YouTube content creator, have dug into AMD's hardware leak documents, testing and the planned roadmap, and partnerships across PlayStation and Xbox working alongside AMD. There is a monumental difference between the PS6 and the next Xbox console. We will break down each side by side, the differences in performance and capabilities of these next generation consoles. YouTube content creator Moore's Law is Dead has broken down the first batch of hardware leaks for the upcoming PlayStation 6. Some of his information has been proven credible, some has been questionable, but the specs are coming directly from a document associated with PlayStation, the PS6, and hardware proposals with Sony as far back as 2023. The PS6 is slated for 2027 or even as late as 2028, according to Mark Cerny and AMD documents. PlayStation plans to build a traditional console, far more affordable than ever before, with compatibility with PS4, PS5, and next-generation games only. But Xbox has a different approach, with their next-generation first-party console coming in 2027, but Xbox actually plans to start next generation early at the end of 2026 with a partnered third-party console like PC hybrid box, much like the Steam boxes for PC we saw last decade. But today we're going to talk about the Xbox first-party console in 2027. This Xbox console will have access to over 6,000 Xbox Original, Xbox 360, and Xbox One and Series games, as well as millions of PC titles launching directly in one place. A shocking revelation is that Xbox's next console will also play over 50 of PlayStation's tentpole formerly exclusive first-party games that are available on PC, and PlayStation has also started an initiative to put some of their games directly onto the Xbox console. Just in games alone, the next generation Xbox console offers far more games than the PlayStation can. Let's talk about the architecture. The PS6 is based on AMD's upcoming RDNA 5, and Sony is using this gaming version of the architecture, which RDNA 5 is 5 to 10% faster in performance per clock lift and 65% faster than the current PS5 Pro. The Xbox is using AMD's upcoming UDNA 5, equivalent to RDNA 5, and this is a unified architecture that merges PC and console architecture, more optimized for AI, and developers won't need to optimize separately for RDNA and other architectures. It'll be one unified platform. This is a 3-generation upgrade from the current Xbox Series X. The PS6 is set with a lower power draw at 160 watts compared to the PS5, which runs at 190 to 220 watts. Xbox's next generation power draw wattage is unknown at this time, but it'll likely be much higher than the PS6 when you take a look at these specs in just a moment. The PlayStation 6 is targeted to be a lower power and affordably lower priced console, somewhere around $500, and is better than the PS5 Pro while also less expensive. PlayStation is majorly concerned with early adoption from PlayStation 5 to PS6, even holding some customers back on PS4. And due to the $100 price jump they saw moving into the PS5 and with a $700 PS5 Pro, Moore's Law believes that the PS6 could be priced to sell and priced to move people up at around $500. Previous reports of the next generation Xbox PC console hybrid being as expensive as $1,000 to $1,500 were likely a mass exaggeration and misunderstanding. And after seeing leaked reports of the $800 Asus ROG Ally X handheld, it's more likely that the next generation Xbox will be priced anywhere from $800 to upward near $1,000. One of the reasons for the higher priced Xbox is the profit margin position that Xbox will be in next generation, with the half-life adoption rate being somewhere around 15 to 20 million units of next generation consoles sold by the end of this next generation, especially with Xbox also offering a third-party console just before they release their own. The CPU in the PS6 has an 8-core Zen 6 processor compared to the Zen 2 of last generation, with a high possibility of multi-threaded to 16. This is the same core count as the current PS5, but will have a much higher frequency and better performance clocks. The Xbox next generation console will have 11-core Zen 6 with 3 Zen 6 and 8 Zen 6C cores, likely functioning as something as simple as 10 cores with 20 threads, compared to the PS6 with 8 cores and 16 threads, with possibly very similar clocks and frequency for instructions and draw calls. The extra cores on the Xbox will afford better enemy AI, physics simulations, and higher frame rates above the PS6. The PS6 is using a Navi 5 graphics engine built on the 3nm process with 40 to 48 compute units, which is less than the PS5 Pro, but will be clocked 50% faster for more performance, leading to a generational leap while keeping the console affordable. Moore's Law believes that Sony will increase the compute units in the final spec, but compared to the Xbox, being on a Navi 5 chiplet 3nm process, the Xbox is designed as a hybrid PC console on Windows 12. The technical specs of this console are massively improved, working 4x2x12. This gives the next Xbox far more CUs than the PS6, with around 50, all likely clocked similar over the PS6, with about 25% more compute units, with 64 CUs overall, which is partially why you'll see the Xbox being a more expensive device. The PS6 has a shared memory pool of GDDR7 with 32 gigs of graphics RAM at a 160 to 192-bit memory bus. This is 2 times the boost of memory, which helps with game logic, textures, multitasking, and open world games. Xbox's memory pool is very similar to the PS6 at 32 gigs of GDDR7, with the RAM in line with the PS6, which can set limitations for generation in game design, so there will be parity with the lower powered PS6. The graphics engine in the PS6 will use Sony's AI upscaling proprietary technology built off of AMD's FSR 4.0, with PlayStation's far improved PSSR 2.0, which is set to be 2 times better than the current Pro, resolving 4K-like visuals at 60 to 120 FPS. Xbox will be using a custom neural processing unit with DirectSR, a proprietary super resolution software set from Xbox using AI-powered super resolution upscaling. This will work in concert with games and applications using DirectX 12. DirectSR provides a single interface that allows developers to integrate multiple super resolution technologies without needing separate SDKs for each of their chipsets. This means that developers can optimize their game across the next Xbox, handhelds, and top-end powerful PCs. Rasterization is to be 2 times better than the PS5 Pro in regards to the PS6. The ray tracing performance will reportedly be over 6 times faster, allowing games using RT or Lumen technology to look wildly better than we see on the PS5 Pro. Rasterization on the next Xbox has a projected 60% boost in rendering and 2 times improvement in ray tracing over the current RDNA 2. And the next Xbox has more raw power than the reported PS6 specifications. Looking at the console itself, we don't know much about the design or form factor for the PS6, but it's likely to utilize the PS5 era's detachable disk drive and also have full access to M.2 SSD storage that you can buy off the shelf. Xbox customers have all but abandoned physical media, but Microsoft cannot ignore the need to support game discs as far back as 2001. So we may see Xbox copy the PlayStation with a detachable disk drive and access to an M.2 storage standard, as well as using their proprietary, overpriced SSD plug-and-play cards. The next generation will be unconventional, and with exclusivity becoming an outdated concept across Xbox and even PlayStation, the console hardware will vary differently, with a lower spec and more efficient PlayStation 6 being around $500 or $600. And then the higher powered, more future-proof Xbox console PC hybrid that will last far longer in the generation, but may cost you as much as $800 or $1,000. The choice and flexibility on offer will throw away tradition and bring games to the forefront more than ever. And the hardware itself looks just as exciting. This is Colteastwood. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Looking at the comparison of the upcoming PS6 and the next generation Xbox, and I can see the strategy where PlayStation plans to do affordable and more accessible, even a lower powered console, which I think will be wildly successful for the brand. But it really comes down to the games. And if you want to decide if you should go full PC, go to Xbox with a hybrid PC, or stay on the PlayStation, think about what games are on offer and available to you. With Xbox offering all of the games across PC, almost every game PlayStation has on offer, and everything available on Xbox, you can see the choice is going to make it a really interesting generation as we look forward. And the games are getting better, and developers are now having more tools and more hardware to give them overhead to make the games look and run better than ever before. Of course, if any of these leaks are accurate and end up coming to anywhere near the truth, we'll have to see what happens in face-offs. But I think really it'll come down to the games, and the performance of those will not be a big deciding factor on which console does the best. And we have a lot to look forward to either way. If you ended up enjoying this video, let me know by liking and subscribing to the channel. Hit the bell to be notified of new weekly content. If you want to further support what we're doing here on the Colteastwood channel, you can hit the join button below. That'll get you early access for videos. Members and channel members, Patreons, all saw this video some 12 to 24 hours before it went up. And you're also first in the comment section to let me know what you think about all of this. Check out the Patreon if you want to further support the channel, and check out the Excellency Podcast. We run that show every Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. There we'll talk about the news. Middle-aged Game Guy and I will be on a couple of breaks here or there, but we'll be back in full force because there's so much to talk about. I want to know what you think about the upcoming PS6 and the Xbox Project Magnus, and what you expect if you're going to buy next generation into a console or a PC, or just go with a handheld. Let me know in the comment section. And while you do that, as I always say, please be nice.